How can we trust the Blackpool Pleasure Beach marketing team to market a bloody Mac-powered coaster of all things? Jesus! It's safe to say that the past few years have been pretty devastating for Blackpool Pleasure Beach, aka Britain's best amusement park. The park's project to reimagine Valhalla ended up going very over budget and saw delay after delay with very little apparent return on investment in the end. The park saw a £522,000 loss in the financial year 2022 to 2023, and 2024 saw some rides standing but not operating, SBNO, for the entire season, with others experiencing an array of technical issues. And with plans to develop a Universal Studios resort in the UK looking to be approved within the coming weeks, the pressure is ever growing on this beloved park to make a big comeback. So taking all of this into account, along with the fact that we are fast approaching the end of a year, there's no better time for me to make a video speculating, will Blackpool Pleasure Beach be able to turn things around going into the future? And taking a look at things at a glance, there is potential. The park announced last week, as of recording, that new for 2025 they are going to be reopening Ice Blast, or as it's now called, Launchpad, which is one of the rides that has sat SBNO for 2024. That is going to be receiving a brand new pressure cylinder to turn the shot tower into a shot and drop tower, which means we're finally getting a drop tower at the park, and that is something I've been wanting for a long time. A loan was also filed on the company's house website earlier this year for an Intamin gyro swing, so we could well be seeing a brand new flat ride at the park within the next couple of years. And we've also seen the demolition of the Grand Prix car ride over the course of this year for what Amanda Thompson claims is going to be a brand new attraction, which many speculate will be a new roller coaster, which is huge as Blackpool Pleasure Beach has not received a new roller coaster in nearly 7 years now. But I think we ought to dissect it all one by one, as I have identified a few potential caveats. And I think we'll start off by discussing the potential Intamin gyro swing that could be coming to the park. Now, it's important for me to clarify that the park haven't actually stated anything regarding this publicly. They've not teased it on their social media or website at all. It's literally just the company's house filing that we're going off here. So we have no details regarding where this potential gyro swing would go if it was to come to the park. However, many doubt it'd fit on the Grand Prix site, and that's one reason why many people speculate that that site is going to be home to a new roller coaster. But a space that has sat pretty derelict for a large portion of this year is the Bowlerdrome Arcade, which is located just outside the River Caves ride. And we're going to be talking about River Caves in this video as well, by the way. Now, gradually over the course of this year, we saw stuff being emptied out of the Bowlerdrome, and then around about September or October time, the park closed it from the public completely, along with the adjacent toilet block. And a sign was actually put on the door for a short while stating that surveying was in progress, and people also spotted workers removing cabling from the roof. And so that caused many people to speculate that during the close season, that building is going to be being knocked down, and that potentially by the start of next season, we're going to see footers and or markers in place for this rumoured gyro swing. However, it all started to go a bit quiet from November onwards. The surveying sign was removed from the door of the building. Now, that could either mean that the surveying's been completed or the project's been scrapped completely. And I wouldn't put it past Blackpool Pleasure Beach to scrap a rumoured project, as that has happened before. We actually had a big wheel turn up on site at the park following rumours that the park were going to be getting a big wheel for the 2023 season. And then it all went quiet and we heard nothing else about it. I've not been for a perimeter walk around the park yet, but nobody has posted any pictures online that show signs that that building is getting ready to be demolished. And so that does make me a little bit suspicious. Not to mention the fact that shortly after the loan for the gyro swing was filed on the company's house website, it was satisfied a day or two later. Now, I'm no financial expert, I'm no accountant, but surely you only need to file for a loan from somewhere if you can't afford something. In other words, surely Blackpool would only need to request a loan from somewhere for a gyro swing if they couldn't afford said gyro swing. So the fact that that loan is showing as satisfied, surely they haven't paid that off, because if they were able to pay off the loan that quickly, then surely they wouldn't have needed the loan in the first place. Therefore, I'm very sceptical whether this gyro swing is happening. If the Bowlerdrome building starts to be demolished, then I'll be a little bit more hopeful, but still, they might just want to get rid of that thing regardless of whether they're building a gyro swing or not, because it's honestly just really ugly and a waste of space. For our next point of discussion, we're going to take a trek up to Grand Prix, which is in the final stages of being demolished as we speak. Now, as I said, many people speculate that this plot of land is going to be home to a brand new roller coaster within the coming years. And initially, the consensus was that this is going to be a big new thrill coaster for the park. I mean, the fact that Blackpool Pleasure Beach had the audacity to take a van all the way down to Fort Park on Hyperia's opening day, with writing on it throwing digs at Hyperia in that it's petty that it's beaten the big one's height record by 1 foot, and that they're gonna have to come up with something else to compete with that. So naturally, I took to Planet Coaster to build a lovely single rail roller coaster that fits very nicely on that side, interweaving with Avalanche, interacting with Icon's queue line, and you guys loved it. The park though aren't so much a fan of that by the sounds of it, because recently the rumours have shifted to that of that they could be getting a family roller coaster instead. And when people say a family roller coaster, they usually mean a kids roller coaster. No, I am not joking. More than one YouTube channel that covers Blackpool Pleasure Beach has recently stated in a video that the park could be getting a Mack powered coaster of all things on that site. And I've even heard talks of models such as a Vekoma family boomerang. I don't know what the hell is going on at that park at the moment, but I'm very, very concerned. Now, we all know that Pleasure Beach is rife when it comes to rumours. And usually there's some truth in these rumours, I can't lie. A rumour is either usually true, it's something that's definitely happening at the park, regardless of however many years into the future that may be. So for example, Wild Mouse got demolished in 2018, and that was rumoured for around about 10 years before that actually happened. Or it's something that the park are considering doing. For example, there were rumours earlier this year that Ice Blast was going to be getting demolished rather than refurbished, which I can tell you for a fact the park were definitely considering, because why else would it have just sat there completely abandoned for months before the park suddenly started erecting scaffolding at a rapid pace on it? I really do hope that these family or kiddie coaster rumours fall into the latter category of something that the park are just considering and they're going to change their mind on. As I alluded to before, visitor attendance at the park hasn't been great, hence they made a loss in the 2022 to 2023 financial year. Therefore, they desperately need something to bring people back to the park. How the hell is a Mack powered coaster going to bring people back to the park? You've literally got one an hour and a half, 2 hours down the road at Alton Towers. Yeah, choo-choo my arse. Not to mention, it wouldn't even be the first ever powered coaster that Blackpool Pleasure Beach have had in their history. Back in the 90s, they used to have a powered coaster on the site of what is now Red Arrow Skyforce that was known as the Takeda Express. And anyone who's watched the Blackpool Pleasure Beach TV documentary will know that that ride didn't go down too well.
If you want to make any comments,
I want to make a complaint.
yeah.
The same goes for a Vekoma family boomerang. You've literally got one of them 2.5 hours down the road at Drayton Manor. And let me tell you, Pleasure Beach certainly shouldn't be taking inspiration from them. The only exception I would give to the park getting a family-oriented roller coaster would be that of an Intamin multi-dimension coaster, similar to something such as 13 at Alton Towers or Gold Rush at Drayton Manor. I know I said the park shouldn't take inspiration for Drayton Manor, but please just hear me out for a second. Recently, the sequel to the amazing game that is Planet Coaster that I talked about before came out in Planet Coaster 2. And in Planet Coaster 2, we actually have the Intamin multi-dimension coaster. And when I took a look at it, my eyes were open to the number of UK's first elements that one of these could potentially have. I mean, we've got all sorts of funny track sections here. We've got this piece of track that acts as an upwards moving track as well as a drop track, gives a kind of bouncing sensation. Talk about a bouncing sensation, guys. Sucks to be you, Fairy World Taxi Spin. And then we've got these seesaw track sections, these other tilting track sections. There's so much that could be done here to make a unique coaster for Pleasure Beach and the UK. At the end of the day, this coaster, if it is a coaster, just needs to be something that's gonna catch all eyes. And the easiest way to do that is through a thrill coaster, which Blackpool Pleasure Beach have traditionally done over time. For example, the big one was the world's tallest roller coaster when it opened. Revolution was the first looping roller coaster in Europe. And if the park were to install a single rail coaster, similar to what I proposed in Planet Coaster, then we'd have the UK's first inverting single rail coaster. I genuinely can't believe I'm saying this right, but last week, one of my friends, who I'll keep anonymous for the sake of this video, but they're a massive fan of Pleasure Beach, actually said to me that, you know what, if family coasters are marketed right, they can really bring people into a park, you know. And if Blackpool Pleasure Beach marketed a Mack powered coaster right, or they could get a Vekoma Boomerang, you know, orange and green Vekoma Boomerang in Nickelodeon Land. If they marketed it right, it'd really bring people in. Every single ride they've got since Wallace and Gromit's been a thrill ride. Just, shut up, man! This is Pleasure Beach we're talking about, for God's sake! You're talking about the same marketing team who didn't even realise that Launchpad was going to be being announced in the Visit Blackpool travel guide for 2025, and therefore the announcement for the ride got leaked before you even announced it. How the hell can we trust the Blackpool Pleasure Beach marketing team to market a bloody Mack-powered coaster of all things? Jesus! This is a serious concern of mine though, and I'm sure something that a lot of you are aware of. There's very heavy rumours that Icon was a pretty big failure for the park and it didn't attract nearly as much footfall as the park wanted it to. And I can't lie, a lot of that is probably down to its marketing. The park definitely didn't make enough noise about it at all. Don't get me wrong, Icon wasn't the most marketable ride in the world. I mean, I made a video way back in the day highlighting why I believe its marketing was completely false. Yeah, Revolution's a double launch roller coaster, guys. But it was still a huge ride for Blackpool and the UK. And as for Launchpad itself, I'm very doubtful of how many people it's going to attract back to the park. I really do question the return on investment this project is going to yield. I mean, surely replacing the entire pressure cylinder of an S&S shop tower isn't cheap. So I really do think the marketing team at Pleasure Beach need to carefully consider what they're doing going forward, both when promoting this project and upcoming projects for the park. Another major ride that has been SBNO for the entirety of the 2024 season, besides opening weekend anyway, is the River Caves boat ride. Many have been hoping that this will return for 2025. However, considering the fact that Visit Blackpool only stated that Ice Blast, or as we're now going to call it, Launchpad, is going to return for 2025 and nothing about River Caves, I'm starting to doubt now whether it will actually return for next year. There's all sorts of speculation when it comes to this ride. There's speculation that a leak took place that the park haven't been able to fix as of yet due to how closely the ride interleaves with Wallace and Gromit and Ghost Train, and they don't want to be closing those rides because they already have had enough SBNO rides this year as it is. There's rumours that the ride is going to be getting the Valhalla treatment and receiving a full reimagining, so God knows how much that is going to cost. So my theory is that very little work on the interior of this ride, regardless of what that work may be, was carried out during the main season due to the close proximity of Ghost Train and Wallace and Gromit and the fact that they were operating consistently, and that they're probably only just starting any major work they need to do on it now, and that it may return for next year, it may not, depending how long it takes them to get this work done. Now, the final piece of news we got from Pleasure Beach this year, which could potentially help turn the park around, it could either be a good or a bad thing, or a bit of both, is that they are planning to get a third hashtag Hotel Trivago. Pleasure Beach has a very good track record when it comes to Hotel Trivago hospitality. The two hotels they do have, the Big Blue and the Boulevard, do very well for the business. They make a profit, therefore it makes sense for them to build a third, I guess, even though the capacity of the park would say otherwise. I don't know, I guess the old rusty Britannia hotels up north Blackpool have maybe been getting a bit more business over the past year or two, so maybe Amanda's just thought, better take that away from them. Not to mention that the park also have plans to build some dog-friendly apartments attached to the boulevard, so people can live it up at Pleasure Beach with the dogs, I guess. I believe that the Big Blue and the Boulevard do have a few dog-friendly rooms, however, these are only available on a limited first-come, first-served basis. And for whatever reason, Amanda Thompson wants to give people more options when it comes to bringing their pets to Pleasure Beach, even though I'm pretty sure that dogs aren't allowed on parks, so it is a little bit confusing, I can't lie. So will Blackpool Pleasure Beach turn things around going forward? Possibly, but I'm also sceptical. I'm really happy that the park is getting something, I guess you could say, in the form of the rebrand of Ice Blast into Launchpad. The fact that that ride's now going to be able to act as a drop tower will be great, but I'm sceptical of whether it's going to encourage more visitors to come to the park. I'm also sceptical about this gyro swing and whether it's actually happening. I'm excited but concerned about the new roller coaster that could be coming to Grand Prix site regarding some of the rumours I'm hearing, and I really hope that they do sort the river caves out soon. As for the good old Hotel Trivago and the dog-friendly apartments, if it's going to bring more money to the park, then I'm all for it. I just hope that it doesn't distract from park investment too much, because it does seem a little bit overkill what they're planning there. This is potentially going to be my last upload of 2024, with the exception of my big reflections video that's going to be premiering on the 31st of December. I'll release more information regarding the timing for that in due course. So I just want to say Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, and enjoy your big sausages or whatever you're going to be eating, pigs in blankets. If you're craving some theme park content while eating your sausages and pigs in blankets and you name it, then make sure you go and check out this video on the right side of your screen. It's my closing day vlog from Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And for more things theme park related in the UK and beyond, make sure you click the icon in the centre of your screen to subscribe.